For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. President Joe Biden and Republican Donald Trump won big in the presidential primaries in Georgia, Hawaii, Missouri, and Washington states Tuesday. They each garnered enough delegates to advance as their party's candidates to the November 5th election. In Washington state, some 48,000 Democratic votes were uncommitted in protest of the president's support for Israel's war in Gaza. That's just more than 7% of the vote. Lebanon is warning Israeli strikes deep into the country are threatening a wider war in the Mideast. Lebanon says it will file an appeal to the United Nations Security Council. This comes as Hezbollah and Hamas figures are among those killed in Israeli strikes in Lebanon, and intense overnight strikes hit Gaza, including an UNRWA distribution site in Rafah. Gaza's health ministry is reporting 88 people were killed in the last 24 hours. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today doubled down a ground invasion into the southern city of Rafah, days after U.S. President Joe Biden called it a red line. At the United Nations Security Council Tuesday, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell accused Israel of using starvation as a weapon of war. Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders and 7 Democrats have sent a letter to President Joe Biden calling on the administration to stop sending military aid to Israel. The letter says the administration's violating the Foreign Assistance Act, which bars military support from going to nations that restrict delivery of humanitarian aid. Catherine Carley reports.
Stopping American humanitarian aid is in violation of the law. That should be clear. No more money to Netanyahu's war machine to kill Palestinian children.
Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders says the U.S. can't be complicit in starvation. He's pressing the Biden administration to enforce the Foreign Assistance Act, which would halt $10 billion in military aid if Israel continues to block assistance from reaching Gaza. Israel denies it's blocking the aid, but humanitarian groups say it is. I'm Catherine Carley for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
An American-Israeli soldier thought to have been in Hamas captivity was killed during Hamas's October 7th attack, and his body taken to Gaza. 19-year-old Itay Shen. President Joe Biden said in a statement he was devastated to learn of Chen's death. His father was among the active relatives of hostages, demanding Israel's prime minister do more to secure hostage releases. The White House says the Pentagon will send $300 million in weapons to Ukraine after finding cost savings in its contracts. The Pentagon in December said it was out of replenishment funds as Ukraine runs low on munitions. House Republicans have refused to approve more Ukraine funding, but now Democrats and a group of centrist Republicans are launching efforts to force a vote on the issue and provide tens of billions of dollars in wartime aid for Ukraine. The discharge petition would need a majority of lawmakers, 218 members, to force a vote on the House floor. House Democrats announced the formation of a border security task force Tuesday. This comes after Republicans in the House blocked a border security package at the behest of Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. Edwin Vieira reports.
New Mexico Representative Henry Cuellar says Republicans have controlled the narrative by falsely painting U.S. border communities as dangerous when they're some of the safest in the country. Cuellar adds that though Republicans talk about strengthening the border, most voted against increased Customs and Border Patrol funding.
The last 2 appropriation cycles where we added $2.4 billion for CBP, that is for Border Patrol, adding new agents, support staff, the bonuses, the retention.
I'm Edwin J. Vieira for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
A House hearing on President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents turned into a proxy presidential campaign battle between Republicans and Democrats Tuesday. The Associated Press's Sagar Meghani reports.
Special Counsel Robert Hur had recommended no criminal charges against the president. Before the House Judiciary panel, Hur defended his written report that questioned the president's age and mental competence, but did not find enough evidence to bring a criminal case.
Most importantly, what I wrote is what I believe the evidence shows and what I expect jurors would perceive and believe. I did not sanitize my explanation, nor did I disparage the president unfairly.
Democrats like Adam Schiff accused her of political games, saying he gave Republicans campaign fodder by slighting the president.
You were not born yesterday. You understood exactly what you were doing.
Her pushed back.
Politics played no part whatsoever.
Tom McClintock and Republicans argued Biden's own Justice Department is giving him a free pass while prosecuting Donald Trump for what he called essentially the same missteps.
Now we get to this glaring double standard.
Jamie Raskin and Democrats were quick to point out the two cases are not the same. Trump is being prosecuted for refusing to return the classified documents he took, but
President Biden offered complete and unhesitating cooperation with the special counsel's investigation.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.